The introduction of app stores revolutionized the way digital products are distributed and consumed, acting as crucial gatekeepers in the startup ecosystem. They serve as centralized platforms where developers can present their applications to a global audience, facilitating easy access and distribution. The significance of app stores in relation to startup success cannot be overstated. They offer unparalleled exposure to millions of potential users and provide a streamlined pathway for startups to monetize their innovations through various revenue models, such as in-app purchases and subscriptions. Consider the Apple App Store and Google Play, the two leading players in this space. Their sheer volume of traffic enables startups to gain substantial visibility if their apps are featured prominently. For instance, Instagram's meteoric rise can be partly attributed to its strategic utilization of app stores to reach users across the globe quickly. Similarly, mobile games like Angry Birds leveraged the global reach of app stores to transform from a small-scale project into a cultural phenomenon with massive download numbers. There are plenty of supporting opinions regarding App Store's pivotal role in startup success. Many industry experts assert that without the structured distribution networks provided by these platforms, startups would struggle to enter the market and reach an audience effectively, given the fragmented landscape of potential distribution channels. However, these platforms are not without their challenges and controversies. One major issue is the substantial commission fees, typically around 15 to 30%, that app stores charge on sales, significantly impacting startups' profit margins. Additionally, the strict and often opaque application and review guidelines can stifle creativity and innovation, putting smaller players at a disadvantage compared to larger, established developers who can navigate these challenges more easily. Moreover, criticisms have arisen around the control and influence App Store operators exert over the types and nature of apps allowed on the platform, leading to debates on gatekeeping and censorship. The influence of App Store policies extends to various aspects of startups' operations, including funding and user acquisition strategies. Startups must balance their business models to account for the high commissions, which can affect pricing strategies and profitability. Furthermore, the need to comply with platform guidelines can lead startups to alter their product offering significantly. As we delve deeper into the untold impact of App Store policies, it becomes essential to acknowledge how these factors interplay with the broader landscape of startup success, shaping business strategies and ultimately influencing the viability and growth potential of new ventures. Understanding App Store policies, key requirements and norms. App Store policies are a set of rules and guidelines established by platforms like Apple's App Store and Google Play Store that developers must adhere to when submitting their applications for distribution. These policies cover a wide range of considerations, from content restrictions to privacy practices and payment processing methods. For startups, navigating these requirements is crucial because they directly impact whether an app will be approved or rejected, and ultimately whether the startup can reach a vast audience of potential users. The significance of understanding App Store policies lies in their substantial influence on a startup's path to success. Compliance ensures that a startup's app can be made available to users and helps avoid costly rejections or delays in getting an app to market. For instance, many startups have faced setbacks due to violations of content policies or failure to integrate suitable privacy measures, resulting in costly revisions or complete overhauls of their applications. A real-world example illustrating the impact of App Store policies is the case of Basecamp's Hey Email app, which initially faced rejection from Apple's App Store due to non-compliance with in-app purchase guidelines. Apple requires that digital content must be sold through its in-app purchasing system, allowing Apple to collect a 30% commission. Basecamp's refusal to conform to this norm resulted in significant public disputes and highlighted how these policies could pose challenges to app pricing strategies and revenue models. Another example is the developers behind the game Fortnite, who openly challenged Apple's in-app purchase requirements by implementing an alternative payment system, leading to their app's removal from the store and a high-profile legal battle. Critics argue that such policies give app stores disproportionate control over published content, stifling innovation, competition, and pricing freedom. On the other hand, supporters claim these regulations ensure quality and security for consumers. However, the challenge for startups often lies in limited resources to fully comprehend and adapt to these policies, which can be complex and subject to frequent updates. This complexity can lead to unexpected violations that delay app launches. Moreover, there's an ongoing debate about the fairness of revenue-sharing models imposed by these platforms. Understanding and strategically navigating App Store policies is interconnected with other aspects of startup success, such as marketing strategies, customer acquisition, and financial planning. By aligning app development with these policies from the start, startups can reduce the risk of disruptions, ensuring a smoother entry into competitive app markets and fostering long-term growth. Navigating the App Store submission process involves guiding a digital creation through the necessary channels to achieve approval and publication in an app marketplace. This process is defined by a series of technical, design, and compliance checks, which are set forth by the App Store platforms, like Apple's App Store or Google Play. These platforms have stringent guidelines that developers must adhere to, covering aspects such as user interface design, content policies, privacy considerations, and more. This step is pivotal for startup success, as the ability to get an app approved and visible to users can directly influence a company's market penetration and revenue generation. The significance of understanding and effectively navigating this process cannot be understated. For startups, timing can be critical, as delays in approval can lead to missed market opportunities and reduced competitive edge. Furthermore, navigating this process successfully, or otherwise, often dictates initial user perceptions and can impact long-term growth and viability. A case in point would be the struggles faced by the developers of the email management app Hey, which was initially rejected by the Apple App Store for not conforming to in-app purchase policies. This example highlights how significant misunderstandings or non-compliance with submission guidelines can derail launch strategies. Another instance is the popular game Fortnite, which faced removal from both the Apple and Google App Stores over disputes concerning in-app purchases and payment systems, showcasing how policy disagreements can have substantial repercussions for visibility and access. Experts argue that while some policies enforce necessary quality standards, others may stifle innovation due to their rigidity. This tension emphasizes the need for startups to strategize effectively, understanding these policies thoroughly to avoid pitfalls and delays. However, this process is not without its challenges and controversies. Many developers and industry insiders criticize these platforms for their opaque and sometimes arbitrary review processes. There's ongoing debate about whether these policies create a level playing field or favor larger established companies with more resources to influence policy decisions or navigate complexities more easily. The App Store submission process is a critical influencer in the broader landscape of App Store policies, as it intersects with issues of fairness, opportunity, and innovation for startups. Navigating it proficiently can empower startups to leverage the platform's vast user base, thus directly impacting their chances of success. By mastering the App Store submission process, startups can ensure compliance, optimize app visibility, and ultimately secure better outcomes for reaching and engaging their target audiences. Monetization policies in app stores refer to the rules and regulations set by platforms like the Apple App Store and Google Play Store that dictate how developers can earn revenue from their apps. These policies can include guidelines on in-app purchases, subscription services, advertising, and the percentage cut that app stores take from developers' earnings. Understanding these policies is crucial for startups because they directly affect the startup's revenue model and financial success. For startups eager to capitalize on their app creations, navigating these monetization landscapes is a key determinant of their financial trajectory. The importance of monetization policies becomes especially clear when considering the substantial influence they have over a startup's bottom line. Startups often operate with limited resources, making their revenue streams critical for survival and growth. Monetization strategies are directly shaped by App Store policies, making it essential for startups to understand and strategically plan their approach. A notable example illustrating these dynamics is the 30% commission fee charged by both Apple and Google on in-app purchases and subscriptions. This app tax, as it is often called, significantly cuts into the profits of startups, particularly those relying on digital goods or subscription models. Epic Games' legal battle with Apple brought massive attention to how these policies can constrain revenue potential, making the topic of fee structures a hotbed for debate. Another example is Spotify, which has been vocal about the restrictive nature of these fees, arguing that they hindered its ability to offer competitive pricing against other music streaming services. Several voices within the tech community have expressed concerns over these fees. Developers argue that such policies unfairly disadvantage smaller companies that don't have the financial clout to absorb these cuts as larger companies might. Critics of App Store policies assert that high commission fees stifle innovation, as potential funding that could be allocated toward product development or marketing instead goes to platform fees. However, challenges arise from App Store's arguments that these fees are necessary to maintain and improve their platform's security, functionality, and customer service. There's also debate over whether regulatory intervention is needed to create a fairer and more competitive app ecosystem. Monetization policy's financial implications tie closely to other critical topics, such as innovation barriers, competition fairness, and startups' long-term viability. By critically analyzing these policies, we better understand their cascading effects on business strategy, user experience, and the broader tech culture.